Hey everyone, Tony here. Hope you're doing well. It's Sunday, August 19th. Hope your weekend is going well. Have some very interesting news to share with you guys. But first, I did want to take a look at the market here. As we discussed over the past few days, we're seeing since Friday kind of a upward movement in the market. The downward trend that was happening over the past few weeks has stopped. And we saw the price slightly improve for many of the cryptos. Obviously, Bitcoin over 6,500, Ethereum back over 300, XRP back over 30 cents. So we're seeing some upward trends here from a 24-hour volume perspective. As I said, this could be a bull trap, but let's let it play out. Let's see how this week goes. The Asian markets are going to open up soon because it's currently Monday morning for them. It's like maybe around 5 o'clock right now for those markets. So, let's see how this plays out. But definitely a good sign, right? I would rather have this and the price move sideways than it keep going down. And we know there was a lot of positive news last week. Not major significant news, but at least some level of positive news. And that was Coinbase listing Ethereum Classic. I'm not a fan of Ethereum Classic, but still those type of things can help spur the market and people start putting money in. Massive news around Ripple with, specific to Ripple, of course, that they are going to be having exchange partners that will be providing liquidity for Xrp users, banks, and payment service providers. Really big news. And the Bitcoin short contracts or ETF contracts, was it an ETF or the short contracts expired, excuse me. So let's see how this plays out. Like I said, guys, let's watch it closely. I don't want to say that this is a start of anything, but let's see how it plays out. Maybe we have some more positive news this week. Something that's interesting that's going to happen tomorrow. Bittrex is going live with USD pairing for Ethereum Classic and Ripple XRP. So that's definitely some positive news. And we know they are, of course, a preferred exchange partner for Xrp. So let's see what other positive news comes out this week, and maybe the market moves from a bearish sentiment to a bullish sentiment. So the news I want to share with you guys, and this is big. Remember, I've been telling you guys that I have two catalysts for the spark of the big bull run, and that is in September, the SEC's decision on the Bitcoin ETF, and November, the launch of Bakkt, which is, of course, backed by ICE, the parent company of New York Stock Exchange, Starbucks, and Microsoft. Big time, right? Well, this article came out saying that Ripple, NASDAQ, and ICE, I just mentioned ICE. So NASDAQ is, of course, a separate stock exchange. ICE is the parent company of the New York Stock Exchange, have been invited by a U.S. Congressman for ICO regulation discussion. And this is going to happen in September. It is a separate meeting from the SEC hearing on Bitcoin ETF's decision. So let me give you guys some details. During an interview with Axios, Warren Davidson, the U.S. Congressman representing the Ohio state, announced that he will be inviting the big players in the cryptocurrency industry to discuss the regulation of initial coin offerings. The congressman reportedly invited around 32 leaders from the cryptocurrency space and otherwise. The key players include NASDAQ, International Exchange, ICE, parent company of Stock Exchange, Kraken, Ripple, Harbor, CME Group, Circle, Coin Center, and Union Square Ventures. If you recall, Circle specifically bought Poloniex, is backed by Goldman Sachs as an investor. So this is big. This congressman is bringing in a group of people. It includes exchanges, venture capitalist firms, stock exchanges, and look who's a part of it, Ripple. And this is why Ripple, since the beginning, I've been saying, we've been working with regulators. We've been doing what we need to do according to the laws and regulations. And now we're going to start seeing, as these regulations come into the market, how it's going to affect these other cryptos. I don't think it's going to affect Ripple because they've been working with them all along. And let me give you some more details here. The meeting will be held on the 25th of September 2018 at Capitol Hill. The discussion with the biggest players, ranging from venture capital firms to exchange platforms, fall around the same time as the SEC stance on the proposed Bitcoin ETF. So around the same time, SEC said September 30th. This meeting is happening on September 25th. Moreover, the congressman's office has been reportedly sharing information regarding their plans with the U.S. Securities and Exchanges Commission. Representative David will also be introducing a new bill this year. He said during an interview in the month of June, the congressman stated that ICOs need light touch regulation. Let's see if there's anything else here. He also spoke about the importance of categorizing cryptocurrency, quoting the example of Ethereum controversy, whether the SEC declaring it as a commodity and not a security. So this is going to be a big meeting, and I'm glad to see Ripple's there. And this makes sense because they're a real company. There's a head of the company, there's representatives and so forth that can be held accountable. And I think Ripple is going to be these type of meetings. Guess what? They're going to favor Ripple. Why? They're a real company. And that's not to say, that the other cryptos like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so forth are going to die. But I believe their growth potential is going to be hindered because as these regulations start coming in, things are going to be capped, things are going to be put a certain way. You guys are aware of this if you understand laws and how, the U.S. is looking to align this with like stocks and securities and commodities and ETFs and so forth. So as I've been saying, governments are on board, but they're going to put regulations and they're going to tax it so they can make money off of it. And guess what? I hate to say this, but they're going to tailor the laws and so forth for the rich, for the wealthy, for the Wall Street guys. That's just how it works. Why? Those people donate to politicians. So I'm sure this representative, this congressman, he's probably lobbied and he's gotten campaign donations. It is what it is. I'm not saying anything, he did something wrong. That's just how it works in the United States and probably other countries as well. But this will benefit Ripple because it's a real company. They have an actual face. They've been working with regulators since the beginning. And we are seeing they've moved to full decentralization. We know, now the SEC hasn't come out and said it, but we know alignment with the definition of a security, Xrp is not a security. And we are also seeing movements behind the scenes that show a lot of, I think the news is already out there in the background, not in the public, but through the grapevines that Ripple, Xrp is not a security because we have exchanges launching with Xrp as a base currency, adding it as a base currency. They're listing it and adding fiat pairing. We saw Bittrex adding fiat pairing. It's going live tomorrow, August 20th. So we know, and Coinbase has been, fudsters going on CNBC Fast Money alluding to things because they have argument, bad blood. They want Ripple to pay money to list XRP. They want Ripple to pay millions of dollars for them to list XRP. So we know what's going on behind there, but this is going to be a big meeting. Look who's involved, guys. And ICE, like I said, they're launching their crypto exchange in November with Starbucks and Microsoft, right? This is going to be a big meeting. And the fact that Ripple's in the room with NASDAQ and ICE and so forth, and a lot of these venture capital firms, that is big exposure, great for Ripple. Like I said, this will only work in their favor because they're an actual company and they've been working with the regulators. So with that said, guys, you guys have heard me say over the past week that Ripple will do for payments what Google did for the internet. And I want to do a mini analogy here. It's not going to be, exact, but I hope you understand the principles of what I'm talking about here, the sentiment. But I would liken Ripple to Google and Yahoo to Bitcoin. Now think about that. Yahoo appeared in the market or was in the market before Google ever came along. Many of you know that, right? Yahoo was a powerhouse back in the early 90s. When they launched, they were doing TV ads. I think you guys, who were maybe born in the 80s or whatever, you may remember some of the Yahoo ads. People were using it as a search engine, of course. But then Google came along and made the process of using search engines much better. Their algorithm was much better. It provided you more accurate results. It was faster. It was cleaner, more usable, right? Yahoo would load you on your homepage with ads and a whole bunch of content, and people didn't want that. Sometimes they just want to use a search engine and do a search. And that's what Google provided. And Google monetized it very well. And of course, we know the end of the story. They are the majority search engine market share leader. Now, from there, because they did so well in search, made billions, they grew, right? Google now has they're building different things, right? Robots, all kinds of things. They now have a parent company called Alphabet. You guys know the history about Google, but Yahoo is suffering. Yahoo is almost many years they were unprofitable. They had many attempts to try to save themselves, but they couldn't, because their technology was inferior, and their motives and outlook in solving problems was way off, right? And that's where I liken Yahoo to Bitcoin. Bitcoin was around first, right? But compared to XRP, it is not up to par. XRP is a superior token, superior crypto. And Ripple has published on their website many times, and there have been other studies. XRP settles within 4 seconds, Ethereum 2+ minutes, Bitcoin 1+ hours. And of course, XRP can handle 1,500 transactions per second, Ethereum 15, and Bitcoin 3 to 6. It's also, as far as the cost, XRP is much cheaper to use than Bitcoin. So XRP is way ahead from a technological standpoint. And what we're seeing is the company is now, Ripple is using it in their core products. It's going to get banks and payment service providers to use it. Bitcoin, what is Bitcoin doing right now? Bitcoin is, people are saying, is going to be used as a store of value. Okay, so you buy it and you just hold it? Okay. Where's the utility, right? Where's the global utility? And what we saw is when there was bull run, when in the bull run, of December 2017 to January 2018, we saw the network of Bitcoin transaction take forever. The cost increase. It's like it was so slow, right? And of course the high fees. So, like I said, if you were to make the analogy here, Ripple is way ahead. It's been working with regulators, and I know the Bitcoin maximalists and religious folks are going to come on and say, well, whatever, at least it's not a bank coin or a scam coin. It's not owned by this guy, whatever. But like I said in yesterday's video, who do you think owns a majority of Bitcoin? Who's getting into the market to pump millions into Bitcoin and other cryptos? Wall Street, banks. You think Jamie Dimon and some of these guys don't own Bitcoin? They do. They do. And we're seeing the hedge funds and a lot of Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, they're looking to make money off of it. And guess what? You and I don't control that much Bitcoin or whatever, but the millionaires do. I mentioned Peter Thiel yesterday in my video yesterday, I believe. Guy has put in over $20 million in Bitcoin. And we've seen the Mt. Gox scenarios, and when whales dump on Bitcoin, what happens, right? We also know about the mining. In China, the hash rate is controlled by Bitmain, I believe it is, over 50%. To the people who are saying that Ripple is centralized, even though it's now on a decentralized path, are hypocrites. And they don't look at facts. I like to look at facts. Now, if what I'm saying is wrong, you can call me out. But I looked this up, and these are facts. So I'm not here for a religious debate. I'm here to talk facts and reason and logic and to make money. Now, I hold Bitcoin. I'm not saying that Bitcoin will be irrelevant or die. What I'm saying is that XRP, the superior technology, will be the market leader. Because why? Guess what? Yahoo's still around. I can go to yahoo.com right now, right? I can go to yahoo.com and this is the experience I want. Sure, but guess what? The majority of the people want this experience, guys, which is Google, right? Clean, fast, accurate, provides you with the most relevant results. And Yahoo still, if you go back to Yahoo's homepage in 1995 and 96, very similar, cluttered, right? Trying to do too much. Even Google, they have other services. They make the experience, the usability, everything clean and intuitive. This is super cluttered, right? This is why Yahoo's failing. And this is why I'm telling you guys, if we were to do the analogy, the superior technology of XRP will rule the market. I mentioned in my videos that Ripple will do for payments what Google did for the internet. I think Corey Johnson at Ripple has had a great quote or phrase that Ripple or XRP is 2.0 of cryptocurrencies, while Bitcoin is 1.0. And that you can say the same for Yahoo and Google. So also thrown in here is Microsoft, right? Microsoft was using MSN back in the 90s. They came along. Now they have what's called Bing. There's also AOL and Ask. So there's a lot of analogies here, guys. And, if you're able to solve a real world problem and provide a better experience and with speed and transparency and low cost, you're going to win. And I think it's very similar to the payments, right? Problem that exists with transfer of money and so forth, and the speed and the cost. And XRP is way ahead. And also, one of the things I called out about XRP or Ripple in a sense is that there's a company, there's accountability. If something's wrong, guess what? Brad Garlinghouse is on Twitter. If Ripple does something bad or something against their holders of XRP, guess what? They're going to face massive backlash. And guess what? Those people, they don't want that because they're public figures. They're public faces. Bitcoin, I don't know who's running Bitcoin or what's going on, because all I see is a lot of divide in the Bitcoin community. And once again, I hold Bitcoin. I want to make money off of it. I am long on Bitcoin. I believe it will be around. But like I said, in my analogy, it'll be around, but it's not going to be as big as Google. It's not going to have that market share as big as Google. Likewise, Bitcoin is going to be around, but it's not going to have the market share of Ripple, right? Ripple is going to, because of the superior technology and as a company working with financial institutions, it's going to dominate. So, like I said, guys, this is my analogy, and I absolutely believe in it. I work in the search engine marketing industry, and as an investor looking at facts, this is what I see. And it's very similar, to what happened in the growth of search engines. And we see where Google's at now, where Yahoo's at now. And Bitcoin, like I said, it'll be around, but it won't be as relevant as Google, because where's the utility? We're in a very much a speculation phase of the market. When we move to utility, a lot of these ICOs are going to go out of business. A lot of these coins that are even in the top maybe 30, some of them are going to die. Right? Because it's like they need to solve a real world problem. They need to be, how are they going to be used? How are they going to make money? Right? At the end of the day, this thing, they can't continue forever just hanging out. Right? Eventually there's going to be, the market's going to mature, and then we have to see where's your utility. And XRP is already ahead, light years ahead of many of these cryptos. So wanted to share that. Just a little article here from TechCrunch back in 2016. Why Google beat Yahoo in the war for the internet. And they call out some interesting points, and that could be, like I said, from an analogy standpoint, can be compared between Ripple and Bitcoin. So building fast and building to last. So looking ahead, not just in the moment, right? Scaling complexity. And I like this little quote here. Now, you guys, I can share this link if you want, but there's many articles like this. But just a little call out here. On the other hand, Google built its file system in anticipation of these challenges. They're speaking to the challenges that would happen in the growth of the search market, so that adding new use cases or fixing underlying architecture challenges would be done efficiently. After the purchase of YouTube, for example, Google could simply say, throw away your backend and we'll put you on our platform. Engineers could make upgrades to underlying architecture, and the solution could apply across all Google services. So Google, very much like what Ripple is doing, Google anticipated the challenges that would come in the search market industry and scaling, very much like Ripple anticipated what is going to be the utility of this crypto. And they focus on the biggest problem that exists in payments, which is cross-border payments and transfer of money globally. But also, they've been working with regulators since the beginning. So they did it right. And I understand why Bitcoin was created, but At the end of the day, the people who are crying down with government or whatever are still dependent upon the government, are still using banks to store their money. And guess what? Most of them are just BSing. You know, they say these things, but guess what? They're just here to make money. None of them are gonna storm Washington, D.C., are gonna storm the government, right? They're not gonna do that. They're just repeating like a sentiment. But ask any of them what they're gonna do, how they're gonna take over the government, or throw it on the government. Please tell me. Yeah, Bitcoin's been around 2009. What I'm seeing is the opposite of what they're saying. We have banks and we have government and everybody who's getting involved in crypto and Bitcoin, and they're controlling it now. So where's your down with the government, down with banks, when Bitcoin is now being controlled by those folks? See, logic and facts and these things escape people. A lot of them are, once again, they get caught up in their emotions, and they don't look at things logically and factually. So I hope you guys understand that analogy and why I'm sharing this with you, because you should know what you're investing in and have a grasp of the long-term potential, lasting potential of a crypto. I know in the short term, you can probably put some money into some coins and because we're in the infancy stage, and make some money at the bull run. But think about what you're going to hold long term. And I absolutely believe XRP is a long-term hold, and it will dominate the market. Now, like I said, I hold Bitcoin, and I'm going to hold some Bitcoin long term because I'm going to make some money off it. But eventually, XRP will surpass it because it does not have the utility. People are using it differently now, and XRPs will be used to solve a real-world problem, a global problem, a problem that involves the biggest institutions in the world, banks and payment service providers. So I hope you guys get that analogy. What do you think about this? Like I said, Ripple will do for payments what Google did for the internet. What do you think about what's going on in the market right now? As well as Ripple, NASDAQ, and a bunch of venture capital firms and exchanges being invited by this congressman to talk ICO regulation on September 25th, around the same time as Bitcoin ETF. That's why I keep telling you guys, I believe we're going to see by the end of September, boom, bull run. It's going to start up. It's going to happen. I could be wrong. I don't want to be definite about that. There's nothing guaranteed. But I look at facts and I read between the lines, and I believe a lot of these politicians and so forth are going to be lobbied by Wall Street, right? Campaign donations. Hey, we want to make money, pass the Bitcoin ETF, and you know, put the regulations, but don't over-regulate it, and let's make money. That's what's going to happen. Sooner or later. It's just happened in other markets and other things. It's just how it is. And we're going to ride the wave of that to that big bull run and make some money off of it. So good thing is we are the early adopters, and we have the potential to make a lot of money because a lot of people got out of the market weekends, but they're going to come back when the FOMO kicks in, because now we got corporate America, Starbucks and Microsoft. We got Wall Street. All these guys are going to get in. So it's going to happen again. Your grandma's going to ask you what's Bitcoin, Ethereum, or whatever, XRP. It's going to happen again. So what do you guys think about this analogy? I hope it makes sense. Once again, I don't like to think of this from just only a crypto perspective. I like to think from a business perspective, because we do live in the real world as much as crypto and the white paper and Satoshi's vision and whatever it is out there. Notice what's happened to Bitcoin. It's now being controlled by big money, governments and banks. So we all know where this is going. Everybody wants to make money, including people in government and on the whales on Wall Street and so forth. So I hope you guys get this. I would love to hear your thoughts and comments on this. Leave them below. Thumbs up if you like this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook and Twitter. And like I said, I would love for you guys to help share my channel, my videos. This way we can grow the community, keep people informed, go off of facts, take a logical and reasonable approach here to investing. Don't like to over speculate. So would appreciate the support, and thank you for your continual support, guys. Talk to you all later.